for JP Morgan Chase, we process $10 trillion in a day. So that's a huge and vast data set. Our workforce started to feel anxious about all of the automations because they go, if you automate this, what will I do? They felt that they'll be replaced. The humans are not going to be replaced. However, the skill sets need to be upskilled. We always see NVIDIA's Jensen talking about a lot of very large language modules. The next big thing is going to be agent AI. It can reason, it can do logic, and it can do the task. It also breaks down the complex big things.
Just summarize your life in one sentence, what that would be.
It's relentless.
Hello everyone, welcome to BetterTech. So today I have with me Neriza. Hey Neriza, how are you today?
I am good. Happy New Year, Haseeb, and to all of the viewers of BetterTech.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you and all the listeners too. I'm very glad that I have you with me on the podcast today. So thank you very much for making the time.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to share my own personal experiences and my career journey with everyone.
All right, that's great. So first of all, let me tell you, what do you mean by Neriza? I mean, what does this word mean? I mean, where does the name stem from?
So Neriza is actually a combination of my mother and my father's name. So my mother's name is Nelly. So the NE is coming from her name, and Rizalino as my father's name. So Riza is coming from him. However, somebody else told me that Neriza, for one, you Google it, and its meaning is a gift of God. That's what it actually
Awesome.
meant. I know. I never knew that until somebody told me. So I Googled it myself, and it does mean that.
Yeah, so I mean, that must have been a pretty pleasant surprise for you.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So
Yes, it is.
Neriza, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to say that the combination of my name is also coming from my roots. So as you can see, I am Filipino, Canadian, and I used to be an expat, now a permanent resident of the sunshiny state in Florida. So Florida currently, and I say currently, is my home base.
Awesome, that's great to know. So, I mean, let's start rolling. So why don't you go ahead, tell a bit more about your journey so far? I believe you are working at JP Morgan these days and you're running another company. So how did it all started? How did your career progress, your education, professional journey, how it had been?
So my career journey and my progress, I should say, is constant learning and reinvention. I started in the Philippines. I was born and educated in the Philippines. I have moved to Toronto, Canada, and became a Canadian citizen. And then I was moved by work to the US as an expat and JP Morgan Chase. So I've been in the industry for the last, I can say, 20 years. The first 10 years of my career is running huge business process outsourcing centers. So in the Philippines is a mecca of call centers. So I have been working in the BPO industry for quite some time prior to me moving to JP Morgan Chase. I've been with JP Morgan Chase for the last 10 years. I started in Manila as their site leader for mortgage banking. And then I moved to Toronto, Canada as a site leader for the enterprise call center. And then to the US for merchant services and the corporate investment banking, strategic solutions. And that's where I am leading through the ideation for artificial intelligence and machine learning.
So within your experience of running these large scale BPO centers, how do you have seen the adaptation of new technologies? I mean, is the call center or BPO industry sort of catching up with the latest trends in AI, machine learning, or other digital transformation related stuff, or you think that those are like more of a conventional industry as compared to leading edge?
So for the BPO industry, what I can see right now is that they have been very much and pretty much progressing. My discipline for continuous improvement started in the BPO.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of things to thank for in that industry. Because for the BPO industry, you cater to clients. It is not a captive environment. So you always have to understand that there are a lot of competition out there
Mm-hmm.
and we should be twice as much better. So my journey with machine learning started for when I was running our resource optimization center in Manila, and we have deployed predictive analytics in terms of our resource allocation. As you can see, when you run call centers in Manila, you run it globally as well. So we have our partners in Mumbai, and we have to always ensure that the resources are optimized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, women in STEM or, I mean, technology related careers is not like that much or huge in numbers, right? That's what we have seen over the years. So, what motivated you to pursue a career, I mean, towards tech? Was it something that you wanted to do it since your childhood, or you saw more growth and opportunities by working in various companies? How did it all happen?
So as a child, my dream was to become a preschool teacher,
Mm-hmm.
not to be in technology. However, for when I was studying, I graduated with a bachelor's degree for management and information systems.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved into different countries, I found a huge passion in the technology.
Mm-hmm.
Continuous improvement means looking at the way that you're doing things and looking for ways to make it better. To make it better, you need to be faster, more efficient. You need technology to back you up. I started with simple automations, I started with simple robotics until I looked at coding and programming because that is part of my degree and line of work.
Mm-hmm.
I am a lifelong learner, so I had my data science certificate coming from Cornell and their
Okay.
executive leadership, and I just recently completed my executive education for MIT on CSA Sloan. So that further fueled me to strive in the technology world.
That's pretty amazing. So, I mean, you touched upon the idea or topic of AI and machine learning, I mean, very briefly. So, how do you see both of these technologies changing the horizon of the businesses from an operational standpoint or operational efficiency point overall? And also, how do you see the difference between the two? Because normally, when we say in a flow, we say AI, machine learning, or we say machine learning and AI together. So, but these are like separate disciplines in their own self. So, how do you differentiate the two, and how you see these two affecting the operational efficiency of organizations?
So you are correct. Machine learning is a subset of the whole artificial intelligence umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
I would start by saying, in terms of the operational efficiencies, in the current work that I'm doing right now, it is public knowledge that in the payments solution side for JP Morgan Chase, we process $10 trillion in a day. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
huge and vast data set. Um, One of the key machine learning components that we have implemented would be our large language models.
Mm-hmm.
The large language models have been embedded in our system so that our internal knowledge bases are easily accessible to our employee. It can help us optimize our codes, which then further makes our workforce faster, more efficient, and easily scalable.
Okay, so I mean, what are some of the challenges that you have seen over these years while you are implementing or incorporating this AI and machine learning? into the overall product offering or internal processes or customer facing stuff. So how do you see that?
So I see two main challenges coming from my experience. So the first main challenge is the vast technology and human readiness. What we have encountered previously, and I personally have encountered this, is because I am the one in charge of ideating the automation and collating all of the use cases. Our workforce started to feel anxious about all of the automations because they go, if you automate this, what will I do? They felt that they'll be replaced. So to address that, we had to ensure that our communication is succinct and concise. We will
Mm-hmm.
always need our humans in the loop. The humans are not going to be replaced. However, the skill sets need to be upskilled. Training needs to be done, but the humans would be staying in place. It's just going to make them more efficient and more relevant to the times. The second challenge that I have seen is data structure. As you
Yeah.
know, when you talk about large language models, when you talk about artificial intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about machine learning, these are all data sets, databases, applications. So most of them are binaries. It is very important that organizations are investing on data infrastructure governance because it all starts there. Garbage in, garbage out. If
Mm-hmm.
the data is not structured, there is no way for organizations to be able to have sound recommendations or solutions or fixes to their answers if the data is not there.
Sure. So, I mean, you talked about challenges, you talked about like some of the opportunities, but I mean, at the end, what matters is that how you can measure that a particular implementation of AI or machine learning or overall making the operational efficiency in place in the large scale projects or organizations is basically going to be the key, in my opinion. I mean, you cannot improve something unless you
Agree.
cannot measure it, right? So
Agree.
how do you measure the outcome of implementing this AI and machine learning? Because at the end of the day, for most of the people, it's going to be very subjective that how you will call it a success or how you would call it a failure. But typically, in your experience, how do you measure it?
So for the automation or any implementation that you introduce in the firm and in the organization, it all starts with the problem statement. What are you trying to fix, and what is your end goal? Your end goal would normally be, is it going to be cost avoidance? Is it going to be risk elimination? Is it going to be revenue generation? So that needs to be clear right off the bat,
Mm-hmm.
right? After that, there should be communication across lines of businesses. Anyone who would have an upstream or a downstream impact needs to be either um, informed or approvals needs to be secured. Your
Mm-hmm.
stakeholders are very important. Your stakeholders are not just your director managers, but it's also the users, right? We
Mm-hmm.
need to get their buy-in. We need to always share the vision. Once the vision is shared and the implementation is there, we always start with small scale. You you pilot first and do a proof of concept. Once a proof of concept is there, that's when you can scale big and secure your approvals again. And you listen to feedback, um, and be ready for any iterations. You know, your adaptability, your flexibility, and your resilience to change is very important. at the end of the implementation and UATs, then you all come back to the drawing board and continue to measure. Continue to measure, did we achieve our goals? And if we did, the next target is, can we improve our system?
So, I mean, moving forward, AI is basically transforming pretty quickly. So, what do you think are some of the emerging trends in this particular field? How do you see the future unleashed itself?
So everybody is building as we speak. There are a lot of citizen developers. There are a lot of founders. We always see NVIDIA's Jensen talking about a lot of very large language modules, or I think that the next big thing is going to be agent AI. Wherein it can reason, it can do logic, and it can do the task. It also breaks down the complex big things, because right now what we have is interacting with different data sets. But then when the problem is already complex, it could potentially give you an inconsistent answer.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
agent AI, because it is going to follow a logic and a different decision making pattern. It has the ability to think. Um, it will be the next best trend for 2025. Everyone is watching that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much for this insight. Certainly, very, very helpful. So, yeah, agent AI is going to be the next big thing, as you said. So, as we are approaching towards the end, I'll do a quick rapid fire with you. So, I'll ask you some questions, and you can say the first word or first sentence which comes to your mind. So, it will be more spontaneous as compared to like more thought provoking things. So, I'll quickly start on that. So, what do you think is the main difference between good leaders and great leaders?
Empathy.
All right. All right. And what do you think is one industry which AI will completely transform? I mean, from 0 to 100, say, for example.
So definitely healthcare. And it
Mhm.
is it's this one I'm very excited about, because we would have faster diagnostics, faster solutions, looking at all of the research that's being done, compiling it, summarizing it, and just getting the key points. That's very exciting to get.
What advice you think you should have got when you were young?
Go slow to go fast. I am very impatient.
All right. Okay. And uh, what advice would you give to emerging leaders?
For emerging leaders, it is going to be important to have authenticity and vulnerability. Always act with humility and act with transparency.
Your favorite book?
I've got two. Tuesdays with Maury and The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Tuesdays with Maury because it talks about how important life is, and the material versus what is important, which is connection, relationships. Yeah, and then for Paulo Coelho, my most important, my favorite verse is, the universe and all of the stars conspires to give me what I want.
All right.
Everything works in my favor.
Yeah. So, and your favorite movie?
Movie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I wasn't ready for that. My favorite movie would be Mulan.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, I mean, if you would have to, just summarize your life in one sentence, what that would be?
It's relentless.
All right. So, Neriza, that was amazing. So, thank you very much for making the time today. I truly appreciate it, and I had a great time chatting with you and learning more about your personal professional journey, as well as what your thoughts are on AI, machine learning, operational efficiency in general. So, I hope to host you again in another episode sometime in the near future. And once again, thank you very much for making the time.
Thank you, Haseeb.
Thanks. Bye.